Good morning, my dear boys and girls. Today I feel very happy to meet you in this video session. I hope that you're all quite well. Take care of your health. May God bless you, dear. My dear children, please utilize your time properly. Kindly listen all the videos which was uploaded by our subject teachers. Don't waste your time. Try to get books from your friends or neighbors and please go through once. That will be helpful for you for the next upcoming year. Now let's start the class now. So in the last class you studied about the metallurgy. You'll recall a little bit. That is, in the last class we studied about occurrence of metals, minerals and ores, then metallurgical processes, steps involved. So in that concentration, extraction and purification. Then the concentration, various methods was discussed. In the first method, gravity separation or hydraulic wash was discussed. Now I'm going to start the froth flotation process. Okay, so this is the second method, that is the froth flotation process, which is very important question. Most probably they ask in the public questions. So in this froth flotation, can you tell me what is mean by froth? Froth is nothing but it is a foam. Foam means what? Nurai. Okay, that is called as the froth. So in this method, commonly sulfide ores are concentrated by this method. Sulfide ore such as galena, zinc blende, etc. So galena, what is the formula? PBS is called as the galena and zinc blende is ZNS. So in this method, first ore is crushed and it is treated with water. Then to that you have to add the frothing agent. So that agent will create the froth. So generally pine oil or eucalyptus oil is used as the frothing agent. And to that you have to add sodium ethyl xanthate, which act as a collector. Then to this mixture you have to blow air, which will produce the agitation. So what happens? The collector molecules, it attach the ore particles and make them water repellent. What happens? The collector, that is sodium ethyl xanthate, act as a collector. It attach the ore particles and make them as water repellent. So what happens? Automatically it forms here. That is, it is attached to the collector and it goes to the froth. This is water repellent, so it does not mix with water. These are all the impurities. Here the impurities are there and the impurities settle down at the bottom because it is wetted by water and the ore particles are wetted by the oil, therefore it forms as a froth here. And what happens? You have to remove that froth. That froth is separated here. Here it is separated. So after that it is dried. That froth is skimmed off and dried to recover the concentrated ore. Now the gangue particles, it settle down at the bottom, which is wetted by the water. Sometimes the sulfide ore, it contains another sulfide as impurities. For example, so in the case of galena, zinc blende is present as the impurity. That is PBS. Galena is PBS. So in PBS, it contains some impurities such as ZNS, that is zinc sulfide as impurity. So actually we are concentrating the sulfide ore, but that sulfide ore contains another sulfide as impurity. So in that case, you have to add sodium cyanide as a depressing agent. You have to add sodium cyanide as a depressing agent. So that sodium cyanide, it suppresses the flotation property of the zinc sulfide and it forms a zinc complex on the surface of the zinc sulfide. So this method is called as the froth flotation process. Next one is the magnetic separation. So actually in this method, this is based on the difference in the magnetic properties of the ore and the impurities. That is, ore may be magnetic and the impurities may be non-magnetic. Or otherwise, the ore may be non-magnetic and the impurities may be magnetic. So that two things are separated by using this method. So in this magnetic separation, the crushed ore is first poured to an electromagnetic separator. This is called as the electromagnetic separator. Actually, it consists of a belt and two wheels are there, two rollers are there, and these rollers are magnetic in nature, and over that there is a belt. So it goes on moving. So this wheel has the magnetic property. So once you pass the concentrated ore here, automatically the magnetic properties ore will come nearer to the belt. That is, it was attracted by this magnetic wheeler, and the non-magnetic substance, it falls away. Apart from this, it falls away here. So for example, for this type is tin stone. So tin stone is non-magnetic in nature, and it was separated from the wolframite impurity, which is magnetic in nature. Similarly, if you consider the ore chromite, pyrolusite, and which has magnetic property, and that will be removed from the non-magnetic siliceous impurities. So this is the last method which we studied under the concentration heading. Next method is the leaching method. So actually in leaching, first the concentrated ore is mixed with the suitable solvent. So once you mix that ore with the solvent, it forms a soluble salt or complex will be formed. Then the gangue, it remains insoluble. So you have to remove that soluble salt or complex formation. So ore is mixed with the suitable solvent, it forms a salt or complex, and that is removed. Okay, so many types are there. First one is the cyanide leaching. See, in the cyanide leaching, you have to use cyanide as the solvent. Example for this is gold. So take a gold ore, and to that gold ore you have to add sodium cyanide as the solvent. So once you add the sodium cyanide, what happens? The gold is converted into a soluble cyanide complex. See, this is the complex. AuCN2 minus. This is the complex. So this is the gold ore. So gold ore, when you add the solvent cyanide, that is sodium cyanide, but sodium is not mentioned here, only the cyanide is alone mentioned here. It is converted into a soluble complex, gold cyanide. Okay, then you have to remove the impurities. Then again, this complex is again, it is treated with zinc. You have to treat it with zinc. So what happens? This complex, from the complex formation, you have to convert it into a gold, and that gold is in its elemental state, and its oxidation state, it becomes zero, and this process is called as the cementation. So this is the complex we get from the last step. Then that complex, we are converting it into gold. Okay, and this process is called as the cementation. So this is two more question. And in this leaching, I already told you so many types are there. One is cyanide leaching, the next one is ammonia leaching, the next one is alkali leaching, then fourth one is acid leaching. So many methods are there. I explained about the cyanide leaching. The next one is ammonia leaching. So actually in the ammonia leaching, take a crushed ore, example nickel, copper, cobalt, these type of ores can be treated by this ammonia leaching method. So in this method, nickel, copper and cobalt is leached by using ammonia. So once you add the ammonia, that is converted into a soluble complex. So if it is a nickel ore, means that is converted into a nickel complex, copper complex and cobalt complex. And in this, the gangue is iron oxide or hydroxide, and aluminosilicate is the impurities which left behind. The next one is the alkali leaching. See, actually in the alkali leaching, we are taking bauxite ore. The bauxite ore is an important ore, already you know it's an important ore of aluminium. So first you have to heat it with sodium hydroxide or sodium carbonate at the temperature of 470 to 520 Kelvin. So once you heat it, it forms a complex of sodium meta-aluminate. This is called as the sodium meta-aluminate. And this complex is again decanted, cooled and diluted. and to that you have to pass carbon dioxide gas is passed, CO2 is passed. So what happens? You'll get a hydrated Al2O3, that is aluminum oxide. Hydrated from, what does mean by hydrated? It contains water molecules, that is called as the hydrated. Then that precipitate is again filtered off and it is heated up to 1670 Kelvin. You'll get the pure Al2O3. So this is another method, alkali. So in this alkali method, you have to use any alkalis like sodium hydroxide, sodium carbonate. It is an alkali, it's a base. Okay. The next one is acid leaching. So acid leaching, what happens? Again the sulfide ore such as zinc blende or galena. So that is treated with hot sulfuric acid. You'll get zinc sulfate and sulfide. So again you'll get the metal. So this is another method. So these are all the methods which is used in the leaching process. The next topic is extraction of crude metal. So in the metallurgical process, I told you concentration, then extraction, then refining. 3 steps are there. So up to the magnetic separation, concentration has been over. Next we are going to study about the extraction. So the extraction of crude metal, it involves 2 steps. One is, first you have to convert that metal into metal oxide. Then second step, that metal oxide is reduced to again metal. These are the 2 steps involved in this extraction process. Now first let us see about the conversion of ores into oxides. So how we are going to convert the ore into oxide? By the presence of oxygen or by the absence of oxygen. The main thing is you have to heat. So this is explained by 2 methods. One is roasting, next one is calcination. There is a slight difference between roasting and calcination. So roasting is nothing but the ore is heated in the presence of oxygen. Calcination is nothing but it is heated in the absence of air, in the absence of oxygen. That is the difference between roasting and calcination. Okay, my dear children. So roasting, you have to take the concentrated ore and that ore is oxidized by heating with the excess of oxygen. Okay, so what happens here? Some sulfides are here. Actually, this is possible for the sulfide ores. See, these are all sulfides. This is lead sulfide, this is zinc sulfide, and this is copper sulfide. These sulfide ores, on treatment with oxygen, that is in the presence of air, it is converted into respective oxides. These are all the oxides ore with the elimination of sulfur dioxide. Okay, then next, if it contains, that is in this process, if this sulfide ore contains some impurities like arsenic, sulfur and phosphorus, these impurities are also converted into a volatile oxides. What is the meaning of volatile? It can easily vaporize. Okay, so here these are all if that ore contains such impurities like this impurities it also reacts with the oxygen and it is converted into the respective oxides. So this process is called as the roasting. The next one is calcination. So this is an example of calcination. So already I told you calcination is a process in that the ore is heated strongly in the absence of air. So during this process, if it contains some water molecules, on heating that water molecules is escape as moisture. So once you heat, automatically the water vapor is that water molecule is converted into a vapor. Okay, so for this example, calcination, you have to take carbonate ore. So these are all the examples of carbonate ore. So on heating, what happens? This carbonate is converted into the respective oxide with the elimination of carbon dioxide. It expels the carbon dioxide. So here the carbonate is converted into respective oxide. And in this calcination, if the ore is a hydrated ore, if it contains water molecules, for example, so this is the ore with water molecules. So if it is a hydrated ore, it is converted into the respective oxide with elimination of water vapor. So in the previous case, it is converted into oxide with the elimination of carbon dioxide, and if it contains water molecules means that is converted into the respective oxides with the elimination of water vapor. So this is the difference between roasting and calcination. Both processes are used to convert the ore into metal oxides. The only difference is that you have to heat the ore in the presence of air and in the absence of air. If it is in the presence of air, it is called as roasting, and in the absence of air, it is called as the calcination. Today, we'll stop up to this. The introduction of metal oxide will continue in the next class. Thank you, my dear children.